Football with friends is fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap here with Cody Carpentier on a big Tuesday. So pumped to be here with you. Got a bunch of stuff to get to today, Cody. They say it's the off season, but around here the content just keeps getting cranked out on Orange Bloods Live, and we have a ton to get to today. I did an article on Orange Bloods today about Felix Ojo. You got your NIL nuggets up. It looks like there's something about their collective bargaining in college football being inevitable. I haven't looked at the article yet, as I've been doing a few other things. Been watching some of these Georgia linebacker prospects that you wanted to kind of go over today. It looks like Texas is going to be in the mix with a few of those guys, but one of them is Xavier Griffin, the 4-star that was previously committed to USC, and there's a note about him in this update today from Rivals.com national recruiting analyst Sam Spiegelman. But I couldn't help but see, like, the first note was about Felix Ojo, and after writing about him today, I know we've talked about this to death, but he says at the end. So this was his quote from Ojo. He says, "Texas has always been a place I felt comfortable at. Talking to Coach Sark, to Coach Flo, we've always had great relationships. Texas right now is recruiting me the hardest. They're still the number one team recruiting me right now." And he says that his future cast is still comfortably sitting on the Horns here. So you said yesterday, much to the chagrin of the chat, Cody, you didn't think Texas was going to get Turntine or Felix Ojo. I was right. I wrote today, it feels like, with all the cockamamie Jackson Cantwell stuff that happened with Miami and how I don't understand how it's going to work financially or how other people are going to be able to try and match that deal, considering the fact that Ojo at this point can say, look, 24/7 Sports says I'm the number one tackle in the country. Why am I not getting paid $5 million over the next 2 years?
Yep.
I don't know how schools are going to handle it. I don't know how the bidding war is going to be but Spiegelman doesn't seem to care.
Nor did he mention it. Which is, to me, like, that's the thing. I know I said what I said yesterday, where, like, I have this gut thought that none of Ojo, Turntine, or Krempin end up at Texas. And the theory behind that, you've brought up with Krempin, the idea that other schools potentially see him as an interior, and potentially Texas might see him as an interior as well, potentially a center, right? Krempin, we also heard months ago, fancies himself a little higher than maybe most might think. I think he moved down to like tackle 22 or tackle 23 on Rivals. And there was rumors out there that, there's potentially some, asking for some, favors to take visits at schools and things of this nature. And with Turntine, it's like Turntine, we've talked about him playing guard, but if he doesn't want to play guard, it could be a complete turnaway. Like, he's 6'3", 272 pounds, 6'2.5", 272 pounds. Like, that's not tackle material many SEC places, let alone Texas, right? And maybe a school like Michigan or the A&Ms of the world, A&M definitely, you could see them putting a couple more dollars in the bucket and being like, yo, like, Texas trying to put you at guard, we'll play you at tackle. Come on over here, let's play tackle. They need help. And then Ojo, the thing with Ojo just for me comes down to, you're going to be in a dollar battle. You're just going to be with Ojo. There's no way around it. Him, Cantwell, and Iheanacho, the three best tackles in the class by clear margins. And Cantwell just got what he got. Like I said yesterday, I don't got to rehash everything I said, beat it like a dead horse. But Ojo's out there, and he's going to get, I would say today, you're going to put a valuation on it, he's going to get $2 million a year. Are you willing to pay?
He's not going to get. I'm not sure he's going to get $2 million. He might get $2 million his first year. I don't think that anybody's going to get $2 million next year outside of quarterbacks.
Jackson Cantwell's getting 2.5 per year. What I'm saying is,
you even said it's a crayon contract. You can throw it away.
I don't care. It's a $2 million. He's going to get $2 million. If Cantwell got 2 years for $5 million, that's 2.5 per. Whether he sees the second year $2.5 million or not, I would say Ojo's going to get offered 2 years $4 million, at least.
Okay. You still haven't explained to me how they're going to be able to pay him $2 million for the 2026 season.
Who do I have to explain? What do you mean? What am I trying to explain?
How are they going to do it when they got
How's
20 they
paying
got
Cantwell?
20.5 million to pay for the whole team?
That's not how that works, man. This is the thing. Like, it's all a fugazi, and this is again, we've talked about this on end, but these conversations we could have for hours because of the unending amount of information that's out there right now. And I posted my NIL thread a couple days early for this exact reason. In that, a couple of it was like a month ago, maybe, the Tennessee governor put a bill through that basically kind of exempts it's a weird phrasing, and I'm not obviously law terms understanding of the logistics of this whole thing, but essentially, if a state has a law, it can surpass anything that the NCAA puts against or Rev Share puts against. If Rev Share says you can only pay a player certain amounts, or you can't pay a player, state law says you can pay a player. It's all a fugazi, and you can still pay the player, which makes no sense to me. But that's what's come out the last couple of days because of the state of Tennessee. I think the state of New Jersey jumped in today. I think there was one other state on here that I had written into my column. But the point is, no matter if there's a rev share or not, which it's expecting to be, schools all have their collectives, right?
Right, but I
And
just
Texas and Ohio State are have $22 million in collective
I understand. I understand that.
payments last year. So if you
But
got $45
if they
million,
bring in if they bring out the if they bring out the clear if they bring in the clearinghouse, though, the clearinghouse is like you're going to have to, the collectives are going to have to put, they're going to be under scrutiny, and they're going to say you can't give, unless it's a deal where you're like it's worth $2.5 million as far as the use of his name, image, and likeness. You
correct.
can't
But
give him that much.
here's the thing. And I think Josh Pate said it best on Sunday night. He said, do you think, how did he phrase it? He said, schools weren't scared of the NCAA a decade ago. What makes you think they're going to be scared of the NCAA for the next decade when it comes to like an overruling, you can't spend this much or you have to follow our guidelines? Like, there's a trillion ways you can pay somebody. And all it has to be known is that I told you, Alex Dunlap, that I'm going to pay you $2 million to come play left tackle for me
You
at the
are?
University of Texas. I'm going to pay you $2 million. And you're going to say,
Dang,
well,
dude.
what are we going to tell Deloitte? And I said, we're going to tell Deloitte that I'm paying you $500,000. And $500,000 is going to get wired to you. The other 1.5, it'll end up where you need it to be. Just might not be today.
It's a Chick-fil-A bag.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
How do you
If they
fit
weren't,
1.5 million in a Chick-fil-A?
if all these SEC schools were not scared of the NCAA for the last decade, 2 decades, what makes you think they're going to be scared of them for the next decade? Even though Deloitte exists, there will always be workarounds, whether it's through state law that they say you can't pay, I can pay. And that's why I wrote at the header of my NIL Nuggets of the Week thing is collective bargaining. Collective bargaining is inevitable, not only because I've said this for months, which is why I put it there, but also Jay Billis was talking about he was slamming the wage gap and targeting athletes, and he was urging collective bargaining, and he had a sit down, I think like a half an hour sit down on Monday talking about this, talking about the College Sports Commission and all this other crap. And it's just like, man, the bottom line is the only way you can really do this is if you can have a collective bargaining agreement, and they have to be employees. And it's the only way, and I'll continue to say it's the only way to really make it through everything.
Look, and I mean, in principle, I agree with Kyle W here. I mean, I'm generally, as close to a free market absolutist as you can be, but it's like he says the clearinghouse thing's a joke. It's against the law to limit income of class workers, i.e., Deloitte claiming invalid deals. That's not free market capitalism. I understand that. And this was something that somebody said in response to my column. And so in response to that, I said, but if we're talking about it from the collective side of things, right? If we're talking about it from like the rev share stuff, yeah, like if you want paying 50% of your salary cap is allocated to you, like you can do whatever you want. That's the market is what the market is, right? But if what the collectives are trying to do is, if what the collectives are doing is they're saying that they're paying these players for their NIL, right? They're paying for name, image, and likeness. That what Jackson Cantwell just got paid was $2.5 million per year for 2 years, $5 million total to go play football for Miami. He didn't get paid that money for his name, image, and likeness because Miami can't guarantee him that Red Bull is going to want to put billboards up all over South Florida with his face on it, which would be something that they would say, well, that's like if Red Bull wants to pay it, that's the free market. Like it's just different. It's if you want to say that all of this is pay to play, then yeah, it's the market is what the market is. If you're going to call it, I think what they're saying is if you're going to call it NIL, we're going to need to make sure that the amount that you're getting paid is an amount that's commiserate market rate with what a private entity on the open market would be paying you, what a private company would be paying you for a sponsorship. And if it's go to the SPCA, the no-kill shelter a couple times, sign some autographs, show up at the, go see kids at the children's hospital and make sure to show up at the gala and go pick up your $1.2 million for that. They're going to say that's not the same. It's just not the same as being on every Coca-Cola commercial during ESPN college football games. So it's just a little bit different.
Regardless of Deloitte putting a value on somebody, Kyle W. again says, how does Deloitte know what Arch Manning is worth? The true fact is that even if you go to Deloitte and Deloitte says they would, what was the phrasing? They would have denied 70% of said deals. How can you, as a company, value what Arch Manning's million followers are worth versus Dominican Sue's million followers were worth, or what Ashton Genti's million followers were worth? And you know what I'm saying is Texas, Nebraska, Boise State. I'm leveling this. And how can you value, or how can you say what that's worth when you just like look at a follower count and a hypothetical notoriety? That's my question. It's like, well, is it the quarterback at Texas? Does he carry a certain amount of weight? Obviously. Or is it the fact that like it's a following count? Or is it like Google clicks? How many times this guy's name Googled? Like, how can you act? How are they going to be able to actually be able to say, yeah, well, Bob Jones is going to be the backup guard for Texas. And, we're giving him $50,000 because that's the deal that Texas has for linemen, is to give $50,000. Well, that guy's not worth $50,000 because he's got no Twitter account. He's got no Instagram account, and he bales hay in the summer, and he doesn't know what social media is. So he's not worth $50,000. Like, is that, you see what I'm saying here? Like, how can they actually in any way, shape, or form have a foot to stand on? That's where I think it's only going to get more gross, because players will be able to argue it to the grave. They'll be able to fight it to the grave, that they'll say, well, you told me I was only worth, $5,000, right? Because the guy has no presence on social media.
But I mean, the social media is just one piece of it.
It's a big piece of it.
I mean,
in this day and age.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. Like you did, they probably look at, if they're like, if he's got to tweet something out about this, who knows, man? Whatever the collective wants him tweeting out about, whatever group or whatever that he's aligned them with, where they're going to be getting value out of his name, image, and likeness. They'll probably look at the number of impressions he generally gets for the tweet, like what that's worth, what it's like. I mean, it's Deloitte. It's a big four consulting firm. They have whether or not they have the answers to it, they'll walk into a boardroom and tell you that they have the answers to every bit of it.
That's my problem though. Like, what was his name? DeColdis Crawford, that DB that came out a couple years ago. And he went to Nebraska and he signed a deal with some air conditioning company. Let's say he signs an air conditioning company deal for $200,000, and they go, you're not worth that. But in Nebraska, he had a good commercial and he sells $1 million worth of air conditioning units, right? He could argue he's worth $1 million, even though
Oh,
you
the
declined.
coldest.
He's worth,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But you could also have Arch Manning. I know he's got the name, so it's kind of tough to argue Arch Manning. Let's say it's like, what's the cat's name from A&M? Weigman. Weigman goes to Houston. Houston gives him $1 million. Well, you're not worth that. Well, you don't know what his sale is. You don't know if he, what the turn rate is on him. His CPV isn't the same as Arch Manning's, right? So he's not like per click, right? Somebody clicks on something he's selling. A click might be worth $5 on Conor Weigman's page, where it might be worth $100 on Arch Manning's page, right? How are you going to tell that? That's why that's the whole minutia of this that makes this conversation kind of suck, is that none of it really makes any sense.
Yeah, it's like buying beef anywhere besides Texas Beef Traders. It doesn't make any sense. You can go in there, you can get your beef without any vaccines, without any steroids, without any cockamamie shots shot into it. You don't want antibiotics shot into your beef. You're not going to get that at Texas Beef Traders. You're going to get a great experience. You're going to get 10% off whenever you go in there. Here's the one drawback to Texas Beef Traders. Once you go in once, you're it's kind of like it's kind of like Orange Bloods. We tell you on Orange Bloods, it's like, hey, here's the good news. We'll give you a 3-month free trial. Next thing you know, you're there 3 months and you're never going to sign off again for the rest of your life. It's just you're going to find out it's how cool it is, and it's what happened to me back in like 2003 when I was following Ryan Perlew's recruitment. And like, fast forward 22 years, and here we are. And that'll be the same thing. Fast forward 22 years, you'll still be going into Texas Beef Traders. By then, in 22 years, Darren will probably be 70 years old. Gosh, I wonder if he's still going to be doing it. Knowing my son, he loves it up there so much, he might be up there doing it. Maybe Darren will bequeath the store to him. We already have a steak named after us up there. Make sure and go check them out, man. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Right there in the heart of Lakeway, Loman's Crossing, 620. You will not regret it. And if you can't make it into Lakeway, you just want to try the beef, call up there, talk to Darren, make an order, get your 10% off, and he'll just bring it to your house. All right. Texas Beef Traders, TexasBeefTraders.com. Cody, can I just ask you a serious question? So is this John Turntine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Does he look smaller than usual to you? And also, is that good form on those bicep curls?
It's pretty good for him. I mean, it's tough. He's swaying a little bit, but it's pretty good for him.
How much weight is that?
Looks to me like a 25-pound bar.
And are those like
that might be a 45-pound? Actually, that might be a 45-pound bar with, is that 10s on it? Or 25?
I was gonna say, well, they don't look thick enough to be 25s.
It could be a 45 with 10s or a 45 with 25s. That'd be 95. If it was 95, that'd be pretty impressive. I'm gonna go. It looks like a 45 with 10s.
So 60. I don't do many barbell bicep curls. Is that because it doesn't look like a significant amount of weight that he's moving there. But
but he's doing full range of motion, and depending on him, he's sweating. Like I do these exact things at the end of a bench workout, and they call them 21s. And you do 21s, 21, 20. It's like I don't know what he's doing, but I do lightweight like that too. So it's like it's not really a great way to tell. But he does look good. But he does look. I mean, he looks like he's leaning out, which I like. But also, again, it worries me a little bit.
Yeah, I
don't get the idea behind it, man. But he's got. I mean, I think his dad's pretty vocal on Twitter, and I think that there's a plan behind it. Again, he's a power lifter, he's strong and stuff, but I just really wonder what that's going to look like, even when the football season gets here in 3 months. Like, I wonder if he's going to put 15, 20 more pounds on before football gets here. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to follow there with him. Texas after a lot of good offensive linemen. Do you want to talk about these linebackers like Xavier Griffin and the rest of them?
Yeah.
So what is the update on them? Because you said that we need to hit on these guys, and it's not just Georgia guys. There's the kid from Maid Creek and the one from Carthage. The,
Is it? It's a multi-pronged kind of conversation that I wanted to kind of bring up because somebody in the comments on one of the posts, I think it might have been the one I reposted of Sam Spiegelman's post. They commented back and they said, basically, are we going to get Xavier Griffin, who's from Gainesville, Georgia, 6'4", 205, the former USC commit. He's number 2 linebacker in the class. Are we going to get Xavier Griffin, Braden Rouse, who's from Marietta, Georgia? He's number 5 linebacker in the class. So Xavier Griffin, Braden Rouse, and the third one was Kosi Okpala. And Okpala is the 27th ranked linebacker from Maid Creek. And Okpala is the Rivals 5-star. He's a good backer. But they asked in the comments on Orange Bloods was, we're going to get Griffin, Roos, and Okpala? And I was like, I don't know if you'll be able to pull 2 of the top 5 linebackers when you know Ty Anthony's in there. You got Bo Barnes. Spence will probably be there for another year. And you look at this linebacking group, it feels like if you get an Xavier Griffin, you're probably not going to get a Roos. It seems like the ship has sailed a little bit on the Talona Ili from Hawaii. But they've still had conversations with that one. Anthony Davis from Georgia, who's been an Auburn lean. DeQuiv's Beck from Carthage. I think he's down to a final 3 or 4. I think he came down to the other day. There's a lot of linebackers. Tyon King from Port Arthur. There's a lot of linebackers in this 2026 group that Texas has seemingly had their eyes on. And I just wonder what that means for this next cycle. Given also Xavier Griffin's listed as a linebacker / edge. He's 6'4", 205, like I said before. The latest update came in the 3-2-1. Jason had an update who said Xavier Griffin visited Texas in April. It was Lee Allen Clark who spent most of the time with him. Griffin recently decommitted from USC. Orange Bloods continues to hear that the Longhorns are leading the pack for the Gainesville product, with Clark being a big reason why Texas is favorable in that conversation. And then if you go to the Sam Spiegelman update from this morning, it kind of like goes through his
I
official
think he
visits.
crystal balled them to there.
Yeah, his official visits are Ohio State, Bama, Texas, and Florida State. He says Texas has been trending up with Griffin since April when he was in Austin. Texas reached out and wanted me down there. I really liked it. I made me feel like at home. We got there finally, and it felt like home. He said that again. Alabama runs in Griffin's family. It's his mother's alma mater, and Crimson Tide has hosted the blue chip defender more than any other program. It's shaping up to be a 2-team race for the 4-star linebacker, with our intel pointing to Texas holding an edge at this time. Again, that's linebacker Xavier Griffin from Gainesville, Georgia, 6'4", 205, the number 2 linebacker and the 77th ranked player in America.
I love Xavier Griffin. How do you compare Xavier Griffin and Braden Rouse?
Well,
they kind of remind me of each other.
Yeah, I was gonna say listed, they're pretty much identical.
They're
both from Georgia.
but they play similarly. They're both guys who I think they could play inside, but both these guys, I noticed, I'm like, man, they got some bend and some dip to them. You know what I mean? They have some pass rush traits. And Dave Keith Williams is saying is an outside linebacker duo of Griffin and Okpala would be absolutely great for Texas. However, the Longhorns need a middle linebacker in their 2026 recruiting class also. When I think about these guys and think about the one who looks like a true Mike to me, that to me would be Atkinson.
Well, before we go to Atkinson, I know he's the overall number 1, but he seems like he's a little out of pocket. There are updates on Okpala and Rouse, however you say it.
I think it's Rouse.
Rouse, like Roush Racing type of deal.
Yeah.
It says this is from Sam Spiegelman, again in the same update. There's a lot of player updates in this column that was basically Texas centric. It was labeled Texas leading the way for several blue chippers. He said they've come on strong for Braden this spring, leading into and since the April visit to Austin. Texas shut up the ladder quickly and will host Russ a second time on June 13th. He has officials at Bama, Michigan, and Tennessee. They've been pushing, and I quote, they've been pushing pretty aggressively in my recruitment, and they have wanted me to get on campus. So I felt like they earned a visit out of me. Ever since they offered, they've been pushing me to come up, and that the way this visit went, it made me feel like I was a priority for them. They're high on my board, and I feel like I would fit perfectly in their culture," said Braden Roos, the linebacker from Georgia.
You're just gonna
Kosio,
stick with the Roos. You're just gonna stick.
I
With
keep butchering it. It's going to be what
it.
it's going to be.
It could be Roos. I don't know, but is it Roos? Roos?
Rouse. I'll go Rouse. Okay. The last one is Kosio Paula, the linebacker. David Keith Williams popped it up in the chat a second ago, but this was the other name that was asked because all three of these linebackers were in this column: Rouse, Griffin, and Okpala. The Okpala one says he'll be in on June 20th for his official, or no, before his July commitment. He's got officials for Penn State, Houston, North Carolina, and Baylor. So a little bit different competition with this one. His quote was, "The communication is great. My bond with the whole staff is too. I talked to almost every coach there. I know everyone, and they know me. It was a good time over there. I've been talking to Sark, everyone on the staff. It feels like a family vibe." Sam says, "My future cast is on the Longhorns ahead of the wave of official visits."
Okay. Well, do you
Can you take all three? Can you get all three? And what does that, Dick? You also lose out on then. We've heard good things about Tank King. We've heard good
between
things.
Rouse, Okpala, and Griffin?
Yeah, according to that write-up, it would lead you to believe that Griffin and Okpala are pretty good leans.
Yeah.
And that Roos is maybe the top of their board out of all of them.
I would personally rank if I was having to rank them based on their huddle highlights, I would pretty easily go Griffin, Rouse, Okpala.
Well, it's 2-5, and then I think Opal is 27th.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I'm just
called it. That's what I'm saying. You got it. Yeah. I wasn't trying to. Yeah, but you're right. Exactly on pretty much how they're ranked. But that was kind of my question. Like, can you take three of these dudes? Like, we haven't seen that. I guess the last couple of years, as far as the linebacker classes. Last year was Bo Barnes and Jonathan Cunningham. Then before that, it was Ty Anthony Smith. Year before that, of course, it was Anthony Hill and Leon Galafao. Like, could you see them taking three backers?
I can see
especially with Griffin being, a slash edge type of a player.
Yeah, I could see myself buying three bottles of tequila at Specs. They're having a massive deal right now. Let's go ahead and hear from them.
Texans know for selection and lower prices, it all starts at Specs. No matter what's on the menu, we've got you covered. With all your favorites on tap, you'll bring home the win. Special occasion? Flirt responsibly. Boots on, drinks up. The fun starts here.
Shout Specs, low priced, amazing. Here's to you.
Football with friends here on Orange Bloods Live. So pumped to be here with you. Thanks to Specs. Thanks to Poncho Outdoors. Thanks, of course, to Texas Beef Traders and our good friend Andy Ludicky over at myperfectfranchise.net for allowing us to be here and be here live with 400 of you guys here concurrently between Facebook, X, and YouTube, and everybody who'll be watching later. We certainly thank you guys as well. We know that's 99% of you, but we love being here with the live chat as well. As far as these linebackers, yeah, of course you can take all three of them. I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, they're all three. They're all three really good. Do you like Kosio Paula more than how do you pronounce his name? DeQuivius Beck? DeQuivis?
I just said DeQuivs. Quivs.
Somebody in the chat might know. On his huddle, it's Q-U-I Beck. Like Beck.
DeQuavis.
DeQuivit.
I bet it's Quay, because I don't think he'd go by Quee. I bet you it's Quay Beck. I bet it's DeQuavis Beck.
DeQuavis. Yeah. So I need to get.
I think I got that one right. I think I got the Roos one wrong, but I think I got the Quay Beck one right.
Okay,
I'll go with that.
How do you compare Okpala to Quay Beck? How do you have those guys ranked?
I like Okpala. Here's the thing though. You know this. Like sometimes you get a little bit of the in-person thing. I saw Coach Okpala in person last year. I saw him line up. They had all these guys, even these undersized linebackers. They had these guys rushing the passer, and Kosi was actually pretty nice rushing the passer. He had some drop drills at the Rivals 5-star. So hopefully, I don't know if Rouse is going to be in Indy in a month, but that'd be cool to see. Who did I just say? Rouse. I said I meant to say Beck. I don't know if Beck is going to be there or not, but I'd love to see Beck there with Kosi, and then you'd have kind of a side-by-side comparison. But I have like this nearsighted seeing him in person type of thing that I get sometimes. I like Kosi.
Whenever I watch those two guys, I kind of see them a little bit similarly, the same way that I see with Xavier Griffin and Braden Rouse. But I think what would make me lean toward Kosi Okpala is just, he's a frenetic, hair on fire type of player. He does, like, whenever I was watching him, I'm like, man, if this guy was a little bit taller, he would kind of remind me of Overshone from high school.
Yeah.
Just long arms, but just like kind of everywhere. Really, really, like I said, hair on fire, frenetic. Doesn't seem to have much regard for his own health and safety. You know what I mean? He's good, but I think Beck is. He's clearly a take also, but I don't know who you take with these guys. If I had my druthers, I would just take I would take the Georgia guys.
Atkinson and Davis.
No, Atkinson, Griffin, and Rouse.
Now you don't want Talanoa Ely?
No, I do want Ely. But I'd want Atkinson. I do want
if you could give me 2 of those top 5 guys, I think I would take Ely over Griffin. I would take Ely.
Is Ely not top 5?
Ely's 4. So it's Atkinson 1, Griffin is 2, Isaiah Williams, who's committed to Ole Miss, is 3, Talanoa Ely is 4, and then Braden is 5. I think I would take Ely.
You're not gonna get any of the. So basically, my favorite guys were like 4 of the top 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it goes to show. I think Rivals just got good evals on these guys. Then, yeah, you're not gonna. That's not how. I don't. In this day and age, I just don't think that that's how rosters, or most specifically position rooms, are built at the high school level. It's like, I just think things are different than they were in even like 2022 when Texas had those 6 offensive linemen. You know what I mean? I guess, think about it. I guess just 2025, they kind of loaded up at wide receiver with a bunch of the top dudes.
Well, but do you think that
it's too much of a it's too much of a spend at linebacker, though, unless you truly think Griffin is an edge? And I don't know, man. I just feel like you look at like Dre Quinn, and you're like, when you want to recruit that guy as your edge.
Well, I guess here's the thing. If they move to 105 scholarships, then I think 3 linebackers is obviously a take. Right?
Well, yeah, it's dude. It isn't like once Anthony Hill gets out here, like they're super deep at linebacker.
Well, he's going to leave, but LaFau's going to stay. Spence will stay, most likely. Ty Anthony Smith will be 3. Bo Barnes 4. Jonathan Cunningham 5.
It's a little bit thin, especially knowing that LaFau and Spence will be going after 26.
Then the expectation should be Ty Anthony and Barnes are starting, though.
Okay. Ty Anthony Smith needs to put on weight before he's going to start a whole football game. But I guess
the career arc. So this is why I want to talk about this, because this might sound bad, but even if the career arc for Ty Anthony was like a Mo Blackwell plus, where he played that role, right, and he wasn't a pure starter in its truest form, and then after Ant leaves, it's probably LaFau and Spence, but that Bo Barnes is the one that's pushing to be the new starting linebacker, which is what you would hope for a year from now. And if that's the case, then I think you're in a better spot. But also, if Bo Barnes isn't the guy, then that's basically where we're sitting here. And you're saying, well, Ty Anthony's kind of on the Mo Blackwell trajectory. Jonathan Cunningham needs to add some weight. It's really just Bo Barnes behind LaFau and Brad Spence. And now all of a sudden you look at that linebacker position with Post and Hill, and you're like, where are the bodies at?
No,
So now I guess talking through it, I feel like the 3 linebacker thing has a lot more merit.
especially if there's one like here's the you don't well, just I would just say if things are starting to heat up with Xavier Griffin, you got to make that happen. He's really good, and then what you say once he gets here, we figure out whether it's edge, right? Whether it's edge, whether it's inside linebacker. It wouldn't be that like. So I don't think that that's a ridiculous sell for them to make. They would say, "Hey, dude, we're gonna even if we play you inside linebacker, we're gonna play you like you were in high school, where we run you off the edge a bunch too." They could point to what they've done with like what they're doing right now with supposedly I haven't seen practice, but what they're doing with Brad Spence right now. So I think that's kind of how we see that as far as the linebackers. Go get 3 of them. Just go sign all the best players. But that's all anybody asks for, right, Cody? Just go sign all the dudes and take them out of Georgia if you can. All right, now you can email us, fwfemails@gmail.com. You can find us on X at Cody Carpentier, at Alex Dunlap NFL. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching. We say it all the time. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Helping the show to grow even here during the off season. Thanks so much to Texas Beef Traders. Thanks to Specs. Thanks to myperfectfranchise.net, our good friend Andy Ludicky. Make sure and give him a call if you're interested in checking out your options as far as ways to change your life through the franchise opportunities that he can help you out with, completely free as far as the consultation. myperfectfranchise.net, and of course, Poncho Outdoors. Please like the show. Please subscribe to the channel. If you have a friend you think might like the show, let them know about it. And if this is your first time watching, you're into this stuff, recruiting, Longhorns, SEC football, fantasy, dynasty, sports betting, NFL draft, evaluation, that's what we're here talking about. So some days you'll get recruiting, some days you'll get team stuff, some days you'll just get SEC stuff or NIL or all the rest. But we're definitely always here. We're always talking about it. 6 p.m. on Orange Bloods Live. All right? Love you guys. God bless you. Have a great Tuesday night. For Cody, I'm Alex. We're done.